Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Wednesday afternoon, February 9th. We are looking at Window Traders Market Profile, SPY, IWM, and Triple Qs. And the bulls continue to impress as we all gap higher. We all hold our gaps. Very nice sizable gap for SPY, ES, and even Triple Qs. We all go out with a price probe for the second day in a row. We just missed getting that weekly high from which has been a lower high from our all-time high. So that's important. It's going to be interesting, especially with the CPI number coming out, if it rattles the market or not and keeps us from attaining that high and stopping those lower highs. We end 10 wide. We attempted to go trend twice. We never got it. None of us went trend. We all attempted it at one. Even Q's attempted it in J. So, but none of us could hold it. I had a good day. A lot of small trades throughout the day. Missed a couple late in the day, which we'll go over. So let's get to these trades. There were a lot of them. So in A period, when we opened and pushed up, I didn't chase it right away. But when it pulled back, I did take the 453 calls, basically against the opening. B period, same thing. I took both the 453 and 455 calls against the opening, and if we would have made if we would have one time frame down, as long as we didn't get any acceleration to that gap, I would have gotten a lot bigger. I didn't expect to one time frame down right away on a day that opens with a gap, higher value, strong indices. So those worked out very nice, just 3 times long. C period, took a long also in C. With the one-time framing up, 455 calls. First short was also in C when we pushed up. I took the 459s, and I wasn't getting much. Ended up breaking even on those. I did re-enter a short again in D because there was no tempo. Again, the 459s. That one worked out. And then on pullback in E, long. Pullback in F's, long, the 453s. So, and also in D, after the short I made money on, I also long D. So I bought 453 calls in D, E, F, and made money on all of them. Now, I period, I took a short, basically against H's high, 459 puts. I did well on those. I did it again in J. Actually should have held on to it. I took a small 5 lot right below H's high. Took another 5 lot above the day's high. It started going high. It pulled back a bit. I ended up buying 50 of the 457 calls, which paid me. But I took the short off. Now, so I had a good win to loss ratio, 50 calls versus 10 puts. Should have held on to those puts. Because we weren't getting a lot of tempo and volume. Even though K made a new high and we had single prints. Should have held those. But even though I didn't hold them, here's the trades I missed late in the day. When K took out J's low, should have taken a short. Because we were talking in the room, the market started getting long, G, H, I, J, K. Now, some of these guys got paid, but they weren't getting paid. And once they took out J, not surprised, we finally got some sort of flush. So I missed a short there. And then when L got down here, should have taken a small long against value low. So a couple of small ones I missed. Not a big deal. It was a good day overall. Destinations tomorrow. Now we have a lot of daily highs within basically $2 of each other. 457.88 today's high. 458.12 weekly high, which is really important because that would stop the progression of lower highs. 458.74 daily high, 459.61 daily high, and 459.96, which is the balance high of the weekly high. It's the weekly balance high, and it's a weekly high. For the downside, price probe, K's high of 457.59, 456.32, 10 wide, F's high, 455, today's low. On the nose, 455. 451.27 price probe from February 8th. And you should have all the other downside ones I had given you from yesterday. Now, let's go to the charts. Well, just a small one, just a quickie. Just going to show you the daily, right? Let's show you the weekly first. So here's last week's high. Now that's important to me. But even if we take it out, I don't even know if I would call it up yet until we get acceptance above this weekly high. The reason this weekly high is important is for this. Right? I put the trend lines in. All-time high, lower high, lower high. Well, that's last week's high. We almost got to it, but we didn't. So it's going to be very interesting if we do get it. If we do, right, we at least stop that. And now we attack the 50-day moving average and see what we can do above it. If we can't get it and roll over and fill this gap, it'll get interesting. But for now, we came out of a 4-day balance on a gap that held very, very nicely. And that's a large gap, okay? In fact, I forgot to tell you, today's low is 455. I'm losing my mind. 455 and then closing the gap, which was yesterday's high of 451.92. So that's a 308-point gap, right? That's a fairly large gap. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. So 455 to 451.92. Now, if there was no CPI due out tomorrow, I would say the odds of this gap getting filled the first time are slim. That's a pretty large gap. But you never know if these stupid number riles up the algorithms. It remains to be seen. And then just quickly, let's look at the other gaps. So we have a $3 gap. Triple Q's gap is, let me see, just under $2. Look at them today. Above the 20, bumped their head against the 200. Very interesting. And then Russell's gap is 203.12 was yesterday's high. It's $1.18. So we have the largest gap by far. But we all came out of balance to the upside on the daily. I hope you had a good day trading. Thanks for liking these videos and subscribing. Please check us out at camelbacktrading.org. Enjoy your evening, and we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.